Well, Watchmen fans, I don't know about you, but I think Adrian Veidt missed his true calling. That guy definitely should have been a playwright. Any play that ends with a body being torched and a blue dick, well, that's got Broadway written all over it. All he has to do is add a little bit of hip hop music, and he can give Lin-Manuel Miranda a run for his money.
Meanwhile, back on the podcast, four colossal nerds named Saba, Chris, Christina, and Frank have set out to take on a great darkness that has enveloped the world of fandom. With their powers of common sense and the strength to take on even the most butthurt Twitter mobs and insufferable comment section trolls, they fight for truth, objectivity, and nuance in the conversation and debate over fictional made-up shit.
Hello, friends. Welcome to another episode of Meanwhile Back on the podcast. I'm here with
Saba?
And Chris?
and you know me as Frank. We are doing our second episode of our Watchmen Aftershow. I hope you guys listened to our first one, because if you're listening to this one before the first one, you're skipping ahead and probably won't understand anything that comes after everything that I'm saying right now. So maybe go back and listen to the first one. Oh, and also make sure that you watch the show.
Yeah, that's a prerequisite.
That's a prerequisite of an after show. I think you have to watch the show.
Spoilers. Don't
Spoilers. Yeah. Spoilers don't kill us. Yeah, guys. So let's kick this off. We've gotten 2 episodes that have opened with flashbacks.
Yes,
right?
we have.
2 episodes that have opened with flashbacks, and they've all been within the time period of the 1900s. Because the soldier that catches the flyer, well, let's pedal back. We open on a typing pool, secretaries basically, during wartime, during World War I, and there's a distinguished looking soldier or officer that comes into the room and is looking for a typist that speaks English, and then he takes her into the room and they start typing out this flyer, and what this flyer is basically German propaganda, which is, it's kind of crazy to call it propaganda because
It's mixed with some truth.
yeah, exactly,
Unfortunately.
exactly.
It's
It
a
is
recruitment tactic.
yeah, it is a recruitment type thing, and we see the father of Will Reeves, OB, that's his name, right? OB, and he catches it. He catches it from one of those, what do you call those planes? Biplane? Was it a
I
biplane?
don't know.
I'm not an expert
I
on
don't know.
those.
I can't remember. The old ones, the really old ones.
Yeah, that's accurate.
The ones that were in Red Tails, the George Lucas movie Red Tails. That's good. I like that.
Yeah.
Or Wonder Woman. We can say Wonder Woman. Yeah. So you catch the flyer, and the flyer basically is challenging the African Americans that are fighting on the side of the United States, saying, why are you fighting for a country that has no respect for you? Why are you fighting for a country that offers
Join
you
us.
no rights?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you fighting for a country that abuses you and exploits you at every turn? Right?
And we see that in real history, when they do come back from the war, they're not treated any differently, even though these people have fought and also died for their country. So
Yep.
from that point of view, you get it. But then also, it is a bit of propaganda, because they're sort of told that you come here and you'll be given all of this. And I don't think that's necessarily going to be true either. But that is the paper, which is incidentally the one he writes on, that says "Protect this boy," which
Yeah.
is, I guess, like a full circle moment.
It is a full circle moment. It connects episode 1 to episode 2.
And if you guys
And-
remember when they were in the reparation building, I don't know what that building was.
The Greenwood Cultural
yeah,
Center.
Right. Sorry, I didn't.
Okay.
There was a hologram of a soldier actually talking about it.
Yeah.
He said like, how could they treat a person who fought for this country this way? Like I don't know if you guys remember like his exact lines, but he was essentially saying, like, the holograms essentially saying, like, reinforcing that, where it was like, I fought for this country and like I got nothing for it, right?
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the same soldier. Probably not, but that'd
Could
be pretty
be.
cool.
Could be. It could be a recreation, because obviously their technology is, pretty far ahead. But we'll leave that, for later down the road on the show. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you see any parallels between the U.S. Army and their exploitation of the African Americans during these war times, and the Tulsa police force being predominantly black, and then this idea of a conspiracy, something bigger and grander going on behind the scenes?
So this is where I think I may disagree with you, because in
Okay.
this episode, I don't know if they were like majority like African Americans on the task force. I definitely saw some there, but I don't think it was majority. And in terms of leadership, like the only one that's kind of high up is Sister Knight, and then there's Red
Scare,
and
Yeah.
then creepy masked
Detective Looking Glass.
Detective Looking Glass. So I can definitely tell that in terms of exploitation, there's something going on with that police force,
Mhm.
100%. And they're using some sort of agenda to get them to do these sort of things, i.e. like seeing Red Scare going up to these people and saying, well, you guys are associated, we're going to come and attack you anyway.
Yep.
And sort of now you can use your guns and all this kind of stuff. So there is there's exploitation going on, and there's some sort of thing that is happening that somebody wants this to happen for sure and causing these tensions. I don't know how much it has to do with like the African American police force in itself, though. I don't know if Chris feels differently.
I don't know right now, because it's like there's nothing got answered for me in this episode. I gotta be honest. Like there,
Were you expecting answers from Damon Lindelof?
some. I mean, I get like maybe some clues.
I had more questions after.
I think
Yeah,
I got
I
a
got-
couple of answers though to some of
Yeah.
the things I was wondering about.
Yeah. You were right about certain things that I disagree with, and I still like don't like it. But I think you mentioned how reparations was kind of like localized to this city, to this one town, and I was like, I wouldn't want that to happen, because like the scope of Watchmen have always been like not even the United
Global.
States, it was global, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, kind of against this thing being localized to this one town.
Right.
But if that's where they want to go, that's where they want to go. Who am I
Right.
to say? But I think you mentioned that it might not even be just like localized to Tulsa, right?
Yeah, I don't think it is, man, because I think that the official term for it is the Victims of Racial Violence Act. So that sounds like something that could be a federal thing, right? And
Could
I'm
be.
sure that there's other times, there's other events. You know, we're talking about the southern United States in the early 1900s, right? There's definitely other events
So
where people were hurt.
what I really
Yeah.
wonder about is this police force that's allowed to just be vigilantes, just do whatever the fuck they want. Is that Tulsa only, or is that nationwide? That's
We
the
don't know that
That's
yet.
the question that I
Yeah.
really wanted answered.
Because
Yeah.
it's
right
pretty
away.
like fucked up, honestly, to go to this place and say, you
Yeah,
guys
w-
are associated
yeah.
with this, so we're gonna beat you all up, which is
Yeah.
unfortunately something you kind of see happening in today's world as well. Sort of guilty by association.
I think that was commentary. I really do.
Yeah,
It was
but
mob
like-
rule.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
but that was just really messed up. Like
Yeah.
you,
Just like complete identity politics. It's like you're Nixonville. You're all guilty for this.
and they had a statue.
How about that
of-
fucking statue?
the
Oh my god. It was so ugly.
Yeah.
It was so ugly.
It's
And-
almost like it's a joke that the rest of the world played on them, because it's like a caricature of Nixon.
Yeah.
Totally.
It's
character.
yeah, it's
and
like
they
a
had the
cartoon.
original like American flag there, I think, as well.
Oh, they-
on
yeah.
the side of it.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so we go from there to basically did they transition to where did they transition to again? Was it
Was it when White Knight scene was later?
Yeah,
correct?
yeah. The White Knight scene was later. We transitioned to Angela facing down the man in the wheelchair, sitting under her boss hanging from a tree,
Mhm.
Judd Crawford. Right, he's been hanged. He's dead, and she takes him back to the bakery and interrogates him, and she's like, "Who
when
are
she-
you?"
I like when she sort of like gets him there and she like puts the handcuffs on him, and then she goes into that other
And
room
cries later,
to
yeah.
scream.
Yes, I love that. Yeah,
Yeah.
it showed that she needed, like, she wasn't gonna show a moment of weakness in front of anybody else.
And that's like a character trait that she has. Like I think she's always had it, because even in a flashback, like the sheriff, I don't know if he was, sheriff, the chief, told her in the flashback of the White Knight
Mhm.
that your partner has been killed, and we find out, like, big reveal that like her current children now are her former partner's children.
Yeah.
She doesn't like. She's like maybe later when he's like you can cry. And she's like maybe later. You could tell like that's like she's like yeah like you could tell like emotions are kind of just like a byproduct of her being alive and like it's mostly just about like logic for her.
Yeah.
It's like yeah I'll
Yeah.
cry later when I have time. You
But
know
She's
what I
I
mean?
get-
robotic. She's robotic.
Well, it's not-
Pretty gangster.
So
Yeah.
this is like my take on it. It could be like a bit robotic, but I'm similar in this sense too. Whereas I hate to let people see me cry, or I hate to see people see me in like a moment of
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
weakness.
Sure.
And for her, it's probably even amplified because of her career and like who she is. So I think like she's like her primary feeling to go towards is like anger.
Yeah.
And that's like seems to be her driving force. And we see that with like Will Reeves when she's like asking these questions, and he keeps talking about like Dr. Manhattan and like all these things that Dr. Manhattan can do, and she's like, no, he can't clone himself. No,
Also-
he can turn into human.
Also, can he though?
Yeah.
Because like why would? Well, that's a weird detail to like.
There's some crazy
Yeah.
fucking
Because someone
shit
said
going on in
twice.
the
They
show.
said twice something about
Yeah.
like clone, you're
Yeah.
turning into a human.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, so what do you guys think that when she goes back to the scene in the morning, she doesn't bring up Will Reeves? And
Yeah.
because there's something in my mind, there's something that she feels like is not right. That she's like, for some reason, I
Oh,
can't.
her
turn this over.
her fucking bullshit meter is going off the rails, right? Because she doesn't even tell them that she was there,
Yeah.
right? Like she doesn't nobody knows that she's the first person who found him hanging from that tree,
Yeah.
right? Because of this phone call from Will Reeves.
In that scene where like she gets a phone call and she's like, "Oh my god,
Yeah.
I'll be right there." I'm like,
Yeah.
"What a gangster,
Yeah.
this woman."
Yeah.
But it's weird because it seems like it seems like she can do whatever she wants though as a cop. Like I don't understand. Well, I guess if it's a conspiracy involving so pretty much the only reason why you wouldn't tell your police department is either you think they're gonna get in your way, or you think there's a conspiracy, or you're hiding something. Like being the last person to one of the last people to see him alive, maybe. But it's just weird to me because she has impunity. Like
Right.
the police station is not gonna
Right.
stop her from doing anything.
I think so. This is my theory. I think one of the reasons is either that because he does talk about the sort of this like conspiracy with her, and I think that checks something in her brain. But the other thing as well is that if she hands him over to the police, like that's all theirs then. And so I think if she hands over the suspect, like I think she can do what she wants, but I think it's going to be in someone else's hands
Yeah.
at that point. So at this way, she kind of still.
Yeah, but that's her
has him.
hands. Like she's the one that goes in and gets the information out. That's what I mean, right? It's like whose hands are she handing it to? It's her hands, right?
Yeah. The only thing I can think of is that she wants to make sure that there's nothing
Yeah.
like something he said like made her be like, "Hey, I need to check."
Oh,
this
you know
out."
what it is I think she's scared. Oh no, wait, no, the KKK thing was later. See, that's the thing. Like a conspiracy thing hasn't even been hinted to her until after she talked to Will. I mean,
But it's a weird scenario
Yeah, but I
all
think-
around
yeah.
because it's like you are here and this guy's like, I did this, and she's like, how could you have done this?
Exactly.
You're like in
Exactly.
a wheelchair.
Yeah, she
Also-
shows up and there's a guy in a wheelchair and her boss is hanging from a fucking tree,
Mhm.
right? There's nobody else around, right? To try and logically explain how the hell he got up on that tree,
Yeah.
right? So I'm sure she's like, what the fuck is going on, right?
The other thing that I do want to say that I did like was when Red Scare was like beating up that reporter who had those like
The Mothman wings.
the
Yeah.
Mothman
Yeah.
wings. I
Yeah.
was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
And the scene with Looking
also,
Glass.
I
was-
discovered something. Sorry. Okay, can actually are you gonna talk about the in the car?
Yeah,
with
the Looking Glass
peanuts?
scene.
Yeah, like that's pure.
I love this
Rorschach
actor,
right
by
there.
the way. I
Yeah.
love this actor.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
So good.
Like that whole scene when he was eating peanuts, that was pure Rorschach right
Yeah.
there. So it leads me to believe that he's the Rorschach.
Yeah.
But we'll have to see. But like, there was something this episode that I just like realized. Maybe I'm sure everybody's realized. There's no cell phones in this world, right?
There's
No,
no
they're
cell
not. There's
There's
no
no
phones.
cell
cell phones. There's
phones.
flying machines. but
Yeah.
There's no cell phones.
I saw this thing and I sent you guys. It's like an infograph or something.
Yeah.
Apparently, there's no like cell phones are kind of banned, and I think in a sense, internet might also
Yep,
not
no
be like
internet.
a thing.
Yeah.
So they're advanced in some ways.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But another because when you think about like World
like that
Wide
word
Web was like
completeness.
1989 or something. So
Yeah, I guess because I guess the Cold War like arms race and technology race was different because
yeah,
they had like Dr. Manhattan. They're probably like focusing on different
Well, I
things.
think-
they're advanced in other ways.
Well, I
Yeah,
think that
they're
there's more
focusing
things
on
that
other
happened between the timeline of 1984 and 2019 that we're just not aware
I
of
love
yet.
that completeness of that world
Right?
for sure.
and the fact that we have all these racist white people, well, I'm not going to call them all racist because we don't know if they're all racist, but all these, let's call them Nixonvillians living together, right, in one concentrated area.
You called that, by the way, like you were saying that like the Nixon supporters just like got drained out, like economically.
That's my guess.
Yeah,
that's my guess at this point, right? Because obviously, they've banded together to survive. They're living in these very tribalistic communities, and they're supporting each other, right? So we don't know exactly what took place, but there's definitely something that's been at the behest of Robert Redford as president and his government, which has led to this world, right? And there's something I want to touch on because I think it's very interesting. That scene at the newsstand.
Yes, I think that had like a lot.
There's
like
a lot of
layers.
there's a lot of layers, and there's also a lot of exposition in that. I think if you really pay attention,
natural exposition, which is good.
Yeah. The fact that you have an African American man playing the role of a tinfoil hat conspiracy theorist tells you almost everything you need to know.
But the other thing about that is that a lot of the stuff he was saying was kind of on the nose. Like one thing he was talking about was like the squids. He's like, I don't believe in that. And Christina was saying that. It's like in the last episode, how many people like actually believe that the squids are like real from an alien invasion or government? And so you can see there's already people who are like disbelieving. It's like, it's probably a thing Redford came up with.
Yeah.
The other thing I think he mentioned.
I mean, he's technically wrong.
And Redford didn't. Yeah. Redford didn't do. But like the fact that you're questioning like this event, like I don't think that happened. He said something about that they're trying to distract us by like having us go at each other.
Yeah.
Like that's 100% what is happening. Like right now the 7th Cavalry and the cops are going at each other and there's this bigger thing that is happening.
Yeah.
So I think it's obvious, and we can call it that like Will and whoever he's in cahoots with isn't 7th Cavalry. They're actually playing the 7th Cavalry against the cops. And I mean, I'm hoping it has something to do with Ozymandias. Like, cause who has the technology to like airlift the car?
That was like my WTF moment. I was like, what the fuck? And I was telling to Frank, that was so like genre bending for me. It's like, what is happening?
It was funny, like Sister Knight's reaction to that car was exactly my reaction.
Yeah, me
too.
She
like could have done something, but she's so shocked, and I'm like, no, I get it. Yeah, like
that was
someone just pulled your car up. Like I would like. At first, I was like, open the door, do something. And then I'm like, no, I'd probably just be as shocked as she is right now.
I'd be thinking like, man, I gotta drop my kids in that. Like, I was thinking like, how are
That's
kids?
Elise. What the fuck? Actually, probably not. She's pretty.
How am I gonna get to soccer tomorrow? Yeah, no.
But no, that was like very. Yeah, I think that was very true to life. Where she was like, and then he left the paper for whatever reason. He definitely threw it down. Man, who are his friends?
The best was his smirk in the rearview mirror as like, that thing hit the car. He's like, see ya, peace.
Also that hug that they shared. So I know this is the end of the episode.
Let's talk about the big what the fuck moment.
Okay.
So,
wait, hold on. Before we go over to that, to that area, did you guys catch that newsy calling Redford's government the Libstapo?
No, I didn't see that.
No.
Was it on at the cart when they were at the news?
Yeah. So when they were having their conversation, he referred to his government as the Libstapo. I'm sorry, but in today's day and age, to see an African American turn against a liberal government, like a pro-liberal government that's also giving reparations to people, that says a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That says a tremendous amount. That says that the world is not as. The nuance is still in this world somehow. There's still a lot of nuance in this world, right?
For sure. I think politically it's really interesting, and I would like to know more about sort of like how that plays out and how that goes. Because like there are people, I think in any sort of government, there's always like, no matter what, like these naysayers or whatever else. But I do think they're taking like tones that we've heard of and things that we've heard people say, and then like kind of reversing them in a sense, which is pretty cool. And also that scene was that little girl who came with the newspapers, and she like went to go get them all.
She wanted a Nova Express. I need to know what a Nova Express is. And it sounds like a science magazine or something.
And then the person was like, does this person actually read them all?
By the way, the paper was Frontierman. So it's the same paper that it was the same paper that Rorschach
was it
dropped.
Frontierman?
Yeah. There's the same paper that Rorschach dropped off his
which means that they probably they probably experienced some success by publishing all of Rorschach's journals.
It seems so.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize it was the same one.
Yeah. Because it
Who did they say
looked better than the
Who
one
did they
that-
say Redford was running against again?
They didn't, did they?
Yeah, they said like Peen or something.
Oh, Keene.
Keen.
Yeah.
Senator
So
Keene-
Senator Keene is the son of the guy
Who
of
did the act? The vigilante.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the Vigilante
yeah,
Act.
yeah, the
anti-
unmasking.
yeah.
yeah. He's the son of that guy.
Interesting.
So I think that again that adds another interesting layer, and the fact that Keene knows the Crawfords, knows his wife, and knows Judd,
Mm-hmm.
That
that
is so
says something
fishy.
to me too.
So that funeral scene was so fishy in the sense that he was like to Angela, like, oh, I know you're a cop figure, and she's like, I retired, but he like knows she doesn't.
knows.
He knows.
Uh,
I think we've skipped a couple of scenes ahead, but that really was like,
So that can mean a few things. That can mean that like they both know that he knows, or like they're just trying to keep up appearances, or I don't think he would have let slip. You know what I mean? I think they
could
both
be a
know.
power move though, because here's the thing.
Maybe.
Like, what chief is just friends with a senator and has that senator come over to your house for your funeral? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
That was the senator he was on the phone to too in episode 1.
Yeah, that's the same guy.
So that's like, you know what I mean?
No,
Like,
I think this is the thing. Like this whole like cops can do whatever they want vigilante thing. I think that came directly from that senator. So I think he's like actually hands on. Because when the first cop got shot, he was on the phone. That was the reason why he was on the phone with that senator, right?
Yeah.
So like you know like that already establishes that senator has like a hands-on relationship with. He doesn't just delegate.
he's
right?
fishy AF.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. But I mean, so is Judd Crawford. I think they're fishy
Yeah.
in the same way.
Yeah.
right.
They both know, like, I think he knows what Judd's plan, whatever the plan is, if there is a plan.
Yeah.
That's why I think that opening scene tells us much more than we're seeing, right? You have, the message in that opening scene is that the Germans are trying to tell the African Americans that they're being exploited.
And it's better on this side.
Right, and it's better on this side, right? And I think that maybe the police force is fighting a fight that they don't really know the real opponent.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I think that because they've been guided by Crawford and and the senator is probably guiding Crawford, but Crawford is handing down his marching orders from the senator.
Mm-hmm.
They've been going in a direction that they have no idea where they're going at this point, right?
Where's Panda when you need him? Where's that voice of reason?
It wasn't there.
Another scene, so this is before the funeral scene, I thought was interesting, was when she goes to tell her son Topher about
Who was
the
building
death.
Yeah, what the
Ozymandias'
fuck?
Yeah.
freaking mansion?
Okay,
Yeah.
is that kid psychic?
No, if you saw on the side,
The toy floats?
I think they were like
Oh no,
special
that's
magnet
a
toys.
thing. That's probably a technology
It's
thing.
probably
Is
like
it?
a Dr. Manhattan technology.
Okay, all
But
right.
when she told him that, like, the way she did it was like, I think it's weird because it's like not how you expect like a motherly person to do, but I think it's what Topher needed. But I don't think like the father would
I think
act
that's
that
the
way.
relationship.
That's his language.
Yeah.
I think that's the relationship, and I think she's not really a good mother. I mean, she's a good mother in a sense that like she cares, but I don't think she's like you know what I mean. She's not
I think she's
built to be a mother yet. She's too tough, I think.
Yeah, she'd rather bang and beat the shit out of people.
I think it's strange because it was like thrust upon her.
Yeah,
And I'm not
exactly.
like, for terms of like, I think
Like she's
in her terms, like she's trying her best, and this is like her.
yeah. I'm not saying she's like a actual bad mother, but
Yeah.
I'm saying that like it's a life she never
Because
wanted.
like like if that was me telling, like, I don't have a child, but like if I could imagine, like, that is not at all how I would break it down.
Yeah.
And so to see that, and I know if Cal went up there and thought it would have been different, and how Topher also the maturity that he has because he's the one who witnessed his parents
yeah.
being like killed,
Yeah.
and how he's like, let me tell like my
I'll deal with
sisters.
it, yeah.
I was like, damn, Topher, that's some tough shit you gotta go through.
Do you guys when Angela is talking to Judd in the hospital and she says he goes by Topher or he goes by Topher, is this a gender neutrality thing?
I don't think so. Topher's a boy name.
Because he says his name's Christopher and then it's Topher.
Christopher.
I kind of
Sure, but-
understood that as like we're really close.
Yeah.
Even before
Like
it's like she ends up adopting him.
Oh,
For me,
okay.
it was like an establishment of that,
Okay,
that
okay.
they were already close.
Because
but I'm not sure.
Because like the actor playing Topher is
Mhm.
definitely a little bit sexually ambiguous, wouldn't you say? Like
No.
I thought so.
I mean,
honestly.
I guess so, but I think it's just like a kid who likes long hair.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people let their kids
Okay.
have long hair.
All right.
I don't know.
It might be something for sure.
It's just-
It
but
might, but I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe it's just my expectation that I expect them to do something along those lines in this world. Like you have a completely liberal government, right?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't there be some representation of gender identity or gender neutrality in
like
this
that-
world, right?
yeah, like-
or in this show. That's
Yeah.
just what I'm thinking.
I mean, I like that
yeah.
it's ambiguous. Like they like you know what I mean. It's not a big deal if that is the case.
Yeah,
I just don't know if it's the case.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I personally don't think it's the case. I think, but like, I don't know what they could do. But for me, I was just like, oh, he has very luscious hair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I actually thought
does have nice hair.
Topher was a girl at first. And
In
then
the trailer, I
you
think-
guys actually told me that he was a.
Yeah.
The entire time I watched the first episode, I just kind of assumed.
Yeah, like I
but
said,
don't
he
really
definitely is. Like, he's a little ambiguous as far as gender goes. But dude, how crazy is that fucking toy? Like that's nuts, man.
That toy is cool.
Like play with like a floating building a floating house.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Also, like he goes from like calm to anger in a second. That's scary.
Yeah.
And the way he deals with grief is pretty scary too.
I know that's the thing. I
Because
was
he's
like,
just like detached.
he deals with the same way Angela does.
which isn't like good in the long term of life.
No,
Yeah.
no, it's not.
Well,
for
no,
sure.
it's like Angela doesn't have this kind of like detachment from safety. So he's like, yeah, like cops don't live long. Like he said that, and like that's
Right.
not something that Angela shares. Like
Right.
that's not a view that Angela shares. I don't think, but like that's and that's exactly what somebody that young would probably think is that like. Yeah, it's the way of life. My
Yeah.
parents died. Like this guy's gonna die.
Yeah.
Like you're probably gonna die. Like he has that thing.
Right.
And it's like, it's cool. It fits his character, but it's like pretty scary as like.
And
a
it's
child.
very sad
Very sad. Yeah.
for him, and that's why I was like thinking, I was like, if like I was like, they need some therapy, maybe like some help, like you know what I mean, like just to deal with like the trauma, because it
Yeah.
doesn't seem like
Yeah.
like that trauma is also stemming from
Wait
this
a minute.
horrific event that had happened to him.
You know what? God damn it! I think it is just the one town. I just realized like obviously White Knight only happened in that one town, so that means there's just one city in the United States that has like mass cops that can do whatever the fuck they want.
I don't know if it's
I don't know,
one
dude.
city. We
I don't know.
Because think
like,
about it, like White Knight was one city,
That's true, but
right?
yeah, but
Uh.
but that may just be like the concentration of the cavalry could be in Tulsa, right? So their most logical target
Yeah.
to send a message to the world is to hit the cops in Tulsa, right? That could be the case too.
Okay.
So-
Let's talk about that scene, the White Knight scene, actually. So we're
Well, one more thing I just want to touch on. Did you guys notice that they've mass produced some of the technology from the Watchmen? So we saw the owl ship used by the
Yeah.
police, and then we see
The goggles.
journalists and reporters using the
Moth-
fucking Mothman
yeah,
stuff.
yeah.
Yeah.
How crazy
And also
is
the
that?
goggles.
That's really cool.
That was
The
Owlman.
Oh, and the
That
goggles,
was
right? The
Owlman's
Owlman
goggles.
goggles. Yeah,
That was
right.
creepy, by the way.
Those
When
go-
she was like looking around with those big ass like
Yeah.
round goggles, I'm
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
oh, what the fuck?
Sorry, White Knight. Let's go.
Oh yeah, White Knight. So the scene opens. It's really nice. Angela and Cal like dancing. It's like very sweet. And then you hear the clock, and you're like, everything's gonna fuck up.
Yeah.
That clock. Anytime that clock starts going,
Yeah.
you know.
I don't know how sweet it was. It was like the big hand on the little hand.
Okay,
I was
fine,
like,
whatever.
holy shit.
Okay. You know what? People do all.
I feel like some moments of the episode, they're like, hey, we're HBO. Put a hand down there.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw an interview with Regina King, and she was saying to Amelia Clark's character, she's like, sometimes like I wish I would have like body doubles for sex scenes because I just don't want to do them. She's
Who
like,
said
but
this?
Regina King was saying that,
really?
and Amelia Clark was like, "Oh, I totally feel you." She's like, "But for Watchmen, like,
Oh, because of the actor?
yeah, because her husband's pretty
sorry.
cute." But anyway, so the scene is like that, and the thing that really like freaked me out was when Angela said, "There's someone in the house."
Yeah.
Like she knows, like her instinct
Her
is like
instincts
someone
are
is
on
in
top.
here,
Yeah.
and then she
And
pushes
that
Cal
fight
away.
was so visceral. I love
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
fight so much.
Yeah.
Like you could tell how much instinct she has.
Yeah.
She like in a split second unplugs the light, takes a knife, and like you know what I mean. Like she's
Threw the fire
on-
poker at
yeah,
the
she-
guy.
threw the fire poker, grabbed the
Yeah.
knife, completely silent,
Yeah.
and she doesn't worry about her husband because she knows like secure my position first, take care of the other
Yeah.
person. Like she's a pro, and I love
very
that.
analytical there.
I love
Yeah.
that she had her instincts even before White Knight.
Yeah.
And like I like that like little snippet about her life.
It wasn't protracted. It was a well choreographed action scene for sure. It was really good.
Yeah, they didn't add anything in just for like, oh, like whatever. Like
Yeah.
it was like every move needs to be there in that scene. So she ends up shooting that man.
Yeah.
And then the other man comes in, she gets shot, things go black. how weird is it that when she opens her eyes?
Wait. We're
Did I
jumping
miss-
over something.
Okay.
That guy had the opportunity for the kill shot.
This is what I'm getting to.
Oh, okay.
Because she opens her eyes, it's Judge Crawford, and there's this.
Yeah.
It seems like he
was
knows her
him.
personality.
Yeah.
He knows what she would do because a lot of people are quitting the police force. A lot of people are doing that.
Yeah.
And how weird is it that that face, like, turns into his face?
Mm.
Like, you know, I don't know if it was him.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it was him.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I want to know is why didn't the kill shot come, right?
Yeah.
He had the kill shot. Why
Yeah.
didn't he take the kill shot? One. And then two is who stopped whoever was going to fire the kill shot,
Mm-hmm.
right? That's the question.
I think the husband. I'm guessing, but yeah.
But
But
there's
the
no
fact that they didn't
explanation
show
for it, right? There's
Yeah.
like there's no exposition of like, sorry, what's the husband's name again? The character?
Shit.
What's the husband's name?
His name is Cal.
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 Yeah.
That's right.
So like Judd's not like, oh, you know, Cal got a baseball bat and hit the guy in the back of the head and saved your life, right? There's no explanation for this, which is why I think that you're pointing out that a transition to Crawford's face is interesting. I think there's a lot being said there.
And so the thing that's really weird is that it seems like the sheriff, what's his name? He's not a sheriff, is he?
Chief.
Chief. Why do we
Chief,
keep
man.
messing
Chief.
this up?
It's because of that black and white movie.
Chief Judge
that
Crawford.
they, that they arrested
But
a
Chief
sheriff.
Crawford seems like he wanted this reaction from her because he sits there and is like, your like partner has died, all these things have happened, the people have left the force. I understand if you'd want to. And she's like, I'm not leaving.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And he's like, well, then I guess I'm not either.
Yeah.
You know, and there's something so ominous about
Yeah.
that. It's like,
It's almost like you stay and I'll get you a mask, right? It's like all according to plan.
it's
that
like
sort of
putting
thing.
it in motion. And I do think that Crawford does have a soft spot for her.
Yeah, me too.
I do think that, but
In the Watchmen, we've seen characters emotionally analyze other characters and come up with plans or schemes, right?
Mhm.
Like Ozymandias looked through everybody's psychological profile to figure out how to manipulate them, you know, in the original, right? So to have a character, you know, tune into somebody's psyche to understand what would get them to do what he wants them to do is not a surprise.
Yep.
Right?
mhm.
Without a doubt. The other thing, do you guys notice that he all out of all of his injuries, his arm, that's it. It was like
Exactly, yeah.
typical dummy wound, right?
Yeah.
To try and convey that you're more hurt than you are.
And he said, I got my guy too. So I wonder,
Yeah.
like, did he sacrifice someone for this? I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't have a problem doing that if he really got the guy, or if he did just kill someone. I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. So,
Man, Judd Crawford's death is so freaking the comedian death.
exactly.
Like, he
That's
was
another
such
thing.
a linchpin to
Yes.
everything. It's like, yeah. Okay, so I don't know if we're there yet, but are we at the funeral scene yet?
Okay, funeral scene. I think
Yep.
we're about there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Oh, me
That
go ahead.
thing-
Okay. So like, what the fuck? KKK thing?
That faint. First of all,
What?
that faint she did, I was like, girl.
Oh yeah.
Oscar.
I'm like, like when she was in bed, I'm like, oh, you son of a bitch. You, she's
when-
so good.
When she put those night owl glasses on and she's scanning the room and she goes in the literal closet because the guy Will said like there's skeletons in his closet
Mhm.
and she goes in the actual closet and then you see the outline of it where you guys like just like the body and you're like, what is that? What is that?
It looked like a skeleton.
I thought it was
to me.
I thought it was a vigilante suit. I really did. Or I thought it was the suit for hooded justice.
Mhm.
Or that could have been
Yeah.
it, which would have been crazy as well.
Yeah.
But then when you open it and you see it, and there's such a visual, like with that image, it's like, you know,
Instant.
Yeah,
It's iconic. Sadly, it's iconic. Yes.
unfortunately.
And it had a badge.
He got a badge.
It wasn't
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
a clan outfit. It was a clan outfit with a fucking badge.
Yeah.
Like, what is the pretext to that?
When she took it, I'm like, wow, that's so stupid. And remember, she took it and she like threw it in Will's face. I'm like, why would
Yes.
you do that?
Yes.
But then, like, I mean, she did have like a good idea. She thought like he was being framed, which is like a good like conclusion to jump on.
Yeah, maybe she got rid
But,
of it
like,
because she didn't want someone else to find it.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. You gotta cover your own ass, right? Like you just pretty much told everyone that you're sneaking around your chiefs.
Well,
At least the wife. I guess the wife probably didn't know or something.
Yeah, I don't know if she didn't. I mean, I would imagine like, do they share like an actual closet? I wonder. I mean, it was a pretty nice closet actually. But the thing as well though that was weird. So this is like leading out of the funeral scene is when she goes to Will Reed's and she gets that call from like the place, the bureau, and it's like, okay, we can only tell you if you're like related to this person, like if you have like say this name, and she just on a whim says her name.
Yeah. So that's the big what the fuck. The granddaughter.
Of Will Reeves.
Oof. That's crazy, right?
And-
Well, no. The phone call starts with confirming that Will Reeves is
eligible for
Eligible for
for
that.
the reparations, right?
Mhm.
And then I think it says something along the lines of, "Do you want to know who's in your family tree?" And she says her name, and then they confirm that he's actually her grandfather, which is crazy.
And then he says like, I want you to see like, you know, where you came from.
Yeah,
And Will Reeves has lived a life. I don't know what life he's lived,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
he's lived some sort of life.
You know
Yeah.
who I want to see more of is Will Reeves' father. He seems like an interesting dude.
He seems like a good person. I don't even know why, but I mean, he seems like a good guy.
I want
but
to know more about him in the war.
well, I want to
And maybe he survived.
I want to
Who
know how
knows?
far he got up. Like did he survive that Tulsa
Tulsa, yeah.
event, or did he not? Right? Like I think that would be interesting to
I'm
find
likely
out.
to believe that he didn't, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't
We
think he
didn't see
did.
So there was
Yeah.
a scene we glossed over. Like, I'm sure it'll play more of an important role later. But Topher and his siblings, sorry, or their siblings, we'll just say they just to be safe. Their grandfather, who's played by the same
Yes.
guy who played Bobby from Supernatural.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
so
that's
Yes.
Bobby.
Yeah, the scene. Yeah, you sit on their porch.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
essentially she comes there and he's waiting at the porch and he's saying like, I need to see my grandchildren.
Yeah.
You can't take my time away. And then he just takes a check for it, which I thought was like weird.
In my eyes, it's like he's getting the check. He thinks like, because it's like probably like in terms of like reparation or whatever. Someone said it's like
Yeah,
he
it-
seems to
he-
be
he
associated.
seems-
He
with
called them Redfordations.
Yeah.
So is he a racist?
I mean,
I mean, he's definitely like judging her for getting it because it's like
For being well off?
yeah, because
And
like
also having a
I think he
kid.
was supposed to be portrayed as like a poor person.
He's
like
definitely
poorer
portrayed as a
person,
poor person,
right?
yeah.
And it's like, you know, and he was like adamant about seeing his grandchildren. And I thought it was like a cool character, and then he just takes a check for it. I'm like, oh, okay. So
and it's like
he's a
okay, yeah,
dirtbag,
this
okay.
is yeah.
He's a great character actor, by the way.
Oh
Yeah.
man,
Yeah, I'm interested to see how that'll play out because you would think it would go to next of kin, but for whatever reason, like they went to Angela and Cal, and there's probably like stuff that they've done and like in their will and everything else for that, and it probably from what we've seen of this guy, it seems like the better choice for like kind of like a stable-ish home life. But yeah, we probably will see more of him. Another thing that we haven't talked about though is like the American story, like the Hooded Justice.
Can we talk about the cultural center first, though?
Yeah.
Because
Oh
like,
yeah, okay,
like
there's the
like,
protesters.
well, not just the protesters, but the technology
very cool.
that was available, right? Like she literally took a mug with saliva on it, put it into a computer, and the results came back. Like they
Yeah.
basically processed the results on site for DNA, right? So obviously 2019 is way farther ahead than our 2019.
And also, like,
in
they
terms of
thought it was a good
technology.
idea to do DNA, like release DNA technology to the public.
Yeah.
That was.
Yeah, that's an
I mean,
interesting
obviously,
choice.
like you can only do
That's
you
an
can only do a
interesting
very
choice.
specific thing.
Yeah.
But who knows? Like maybe there's other.
Well, that's like the whole
services, right?
23andMe DNA stuff that's happening in our actual
Oh
world,
fuck.
right? Which I don't do because I have this weird conspiracy where it's like, why would I send you my DNA and have every like genetic
Yeah.
marker I have and all this? You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Just
What
to
if-
figure out where I came. Like,
But it's not automated. Like they have an automated
Exactly.
fucking vending machine.
Okay, I'm having a tinfoil hat moment here.
Oh, I love those.
What if the DNA processes that they're using to provide reparations to people is actually more of a tracking system?
I 100% could see that happening.
Holy fuck.
It could be. I mean, to track them, like, yeah. For what purposes?
I don't know. But like it wouldn't surprise me in this world, honestly.
Yep.
You got masked cops and
Mhm.
We're all being tracked.
who knows? We are actually by our
Conspiracy
goddamn
theories.
phones. Fucking Google.
Yeah.
I know. I turn that Google Map shit off all the time.
Bastards.
I only turn it on if I think like
Damn
I'm in a danger.
bastards.
If I'm
Man,
like,
I was in Vaughan Mills, which is like a mall in Toronto, and I just looked at one of these like kiosks for like more than 10 seconds, and my phone like 30 seconds later was like, "You were interested in this."
You got
the
pinged.
exact same thing.
That's
I'm like,
weird. That's
I
real
just
technology.
stood there. what the fuck?
Yeah.
That's real technology that they've developed.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
know.
It's crazy.
Yeah. It's very intrusive.
You gotta turn off that. You gotta turn off that data.
Very intrusive.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Do good things with your data, like listen to podcasts. There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the cultural center. So the next thing you wanted to jump into for the cultural center was
The whole Hood Knight.
the Hooded Justice, the American hero story. That's what it's called.
And then sort of like the warning at the beginning of
yes,
it.
the warning was so interesting.
And then Topher was allowed to watch it.
Yeah.
But it was like really, you know,
it was a trigger warning for everybody.
for every single thing. Which I guess it's the idea of like people are like too far left, too far right, or whatever else. Because I do believe in I do believe in having trigger warnings for certain things. If there's
Let's not get into that.
But like this is just me personally. Like if it depicts like sexual violence, like in a show, I think they should say that because there are people who are very like triggered by those things. Obviously, it can get too far, and in this case, it was listing pretty much
everything possible
that was essentially there.
It took like a minute and 30 seconds just for the warning. Like like that's how robust that was.
Yeah.
Anyways, so let's get past the trigger
didn't
warning
like that?
things. I did not like that. Anyways, let's.
I wasn't a fan of like the intensity.
Can you appreciate? Can you appreciate how it informed the world?
Yeah, of course. As a world building thing, it
was definitely a good world building thing.
Yeah, like I wasn't like upset by the fact that it happened. I'm just saying that like I was just commenting on the like kind of like you're right about how this world is like really left. But anyways, before we get into the actual show, I just wanted to like bring it back to how I like this, how this Watchmen is like living up to the comic books, because they did this story within stories, and it really felt reminiscent of like these side stories that the comics
this is the
had.
Minutemen, right?
Yeah. And it's like I really did feel like I was back in the comic books. Like, okay, we're gonna take a beat and just do this and do this thing, and like that. I think that show part of it, like the Minutemen, like whatever his name is, Hooded Justice thing, felt the most Watchmen thing of this entire show so far. Like of these 2 episodes, that one sequence felt the most Watchmen. Not just because it had a Watchman in it, but
because
just
of
like
the
feel of it, right?
I think it did call back to like the movie for sure. I think as
like
well.
the gratuitous violence.
And the other thing as well is I think I don't know if there was like a talking monologue over it. I feel like there was like a lot of parallel with Angela's character where he's like, because the guy was talking about like putting on the hood and like putting on the mask and putting on the mask because he didn't know who he was. And you see as this show is going on, she's like spray painting like the black and everything else. Yeah. And I do think the story within the story, and I'm sure we're gonna see it again and again as like sort of the episodes go on. Well, hopefully, because it was really cool. But
this whole like I found myself on new skin and I got confused. Like he says, like I get confused with who I am. Yeah. And when I found this skin, I like this new persona. I became him and he became me. Yeah. That's very Rorschach. That's like Rorschach through and through, because Rorschach really has no identity. Like he is 2 different people. And it's and to a certain extent, like I'm hoping Regina King's character Angela also like goes through this sort of identity crisis.
Like who's
thing.
the real her? Like what is it?
Yeah.
So far, there's not many signs of it. Like I don't think like her character really focuses on that.
Yeah, she isn't haunted enough for me yet.
But I think it's going to be. The way I see it happening is with her relationship with Cal, with her husband. Because she's keeping more and more from him, and right now he's kind of been like this side character. Like, you know what I mean? Like he hasn't really been in the main sort of scenes and stuff. But I think I think that's where we're going to see it, where she's going to have to choose like between family and then this sort of, you know, sister night, this vigilante life. Like that's where I see it's boiling it down to. Because he asked her at one point, like, "Are we safe?"
Yeah.
And then she was like, "Of course we're safe." And I was like, "Oh, they're not safe. They're so not safe."
It's interesting that they casted Cal that way, because he's such a physically imposing and dominating figure that I like that he would play opposite Regina King's role, right? Because who is the dominant party in that relationship, right?
Obviously Regina, yeah.
Well, that's the thing. We haven't seen a scenario where he can step up and be the dominant party either.
Well,
right?
they haven't like had like most of they seem to like he trusts her implicitly, and that's
Yeah,
very
without a
clear
doubt.
to see.
Yeah.
When she says things like grab the gun or like I need to go do this,
Yeah.
he does trust her, but you're starting to see it falter with a are we safe?
Yeah.
And this is where I think like, you know, because I like people know who she is. Like a
Yeah.
whole bunch of people know her true identity.
Yeah.
But yeah, with the Hooded Justice scene, that whole scene again, obviously it's like a recreation of like that grocery store murder, which is like he's, you know, saved them from these people, but in doing so he like kills like
Fucking everybody.
yeah. So it's yeah,
Yep.
I'm wondering where that is.
And destroys a nice pane of glass by jumping through it instead of using the door.
Yeah.
I definitely gotta analyze that scene more because I'm sure there's a
Yeah.
whole bunch in there. And I like how if you guys noticed, they only showed 7th Cavalry once in this episode.
And they were
Yeah.
making a bomb vest.
Yeah, they were making that's
Yeah,
right.
making a bomb vest, a suicidal bomb vest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I like how like all the factions were kind of watching this thing.
Yeah.
It was almost like and also like apparently Looking Glass just keeps his mask on at home. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
that's
he's just
interesting.
eating- yeah,
That's
just so
interesting.
interesting.
Yeah, that's really interesting.
Um,
I didn't pick up on that, but yeah, he was
No, I
literally
noticed it
wearing his
too.
mask,
Like he never
eating a TV dinner.
So he doesn't even have another identity in that sense. It's like this is who he is.
That's what I mean about him being like the new Rorschach,
Mm.
because he's the one that's always like put on my face, and then he's the one that had the visual nod of eating the beans. It was peanuts in like the new versions
Or
of peanuts.
how he said he's
but, like-
crying under the mask.
Yeah.
Yeah, is that a thing that? Rorschach-
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
He said that. I don't know if
Oh, no,
Rorschach
no,
did
yeah,
that. That's
yeah,
just
I don't know if
me
it's a Rorschach
remembering
thing,
the
yeah.
peanut scene.
Yeah, yeah. You said she said something about she said Glass, you're a cold
Yeah,
motherfucker,
cold motherfucker. Yeah.
and he goes,
Why am
well,
I-
why am I crying under this mask then?
He's not. He's definitely not.
But-
He's being sarcastic, and I want him to be as cold as a cold motherfucker.
He is a cold motherfucker,
But
that's for
he's
sure.
like, I don't know if he's like, I don't know what side he falls on right now in terms of what, I don't even know whose side. Is
I don't
what side
trust
anymore.
him.
Yeah.
But there's something about him, but he also
don't
seems
trust
to
him.
know more, but part of me thinks that
Yeah.
he understands. I don't know if he's for the conspiracy or not, because he is suspecting at this point Regina King a little bit. It seems like from their conversation.
Yeah, he's suspect of her for
Yeah.
sure because of her level of relationship
Yeah.
with Crawford,
When
right?
you-
And he's got a point. He's
Yeah.
withholding information,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when she says like, "Oh, he was over my house with the kids,"
and he was doing blow.
Blow.
It like says it passively. Like, was he drunk or high? I mean, he did
Doing
a
a
bit
little
of
bit
blow.
of blow.
It's like,
and she's
yeah,
like, he's like, "What kind of party is that?" She's like, "My children were there," and he was like, "You have children?" And I was like, "Oh,
No. He said your children,
your children."
as in like insinuating
It's
they're
not
not your
actually
fucking
Oh,
kids.
yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
got it.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah.
He is a cold motherfucker.
He is a cold motherfucker.
Yeah. I want them to play off each other more. I think I like their relationship with each other.
So the other thing that jumped out at me is, did Angela fake that fainting spell to get
Yeah,
upstairs?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I thought so too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So what about the raid? Red Scare's raid. Obviously, like that went according to who's ever plan.
Yeah, it was awful.
But like, man,
The way that
they're
she
just-
reacted to it though was good. Like
Yeah.
like they needed a balancing. Like there need to be balance in that moment.
Yeah.
The way that she reacted to it, she didn't get physically violent until someone tried to hit her.
And then
Yeah.
she kind of
Right?
went like,
She went too
Oh,
much,
dude, that
yeah.
kick
Too
was
much, yeah.
insane. That kick was insane.
Yeah. Those
that was it. Yeah, it was.
the ground pound was insane.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought she was gonna kill him.
Yeah.
I don't know what it takes to kill someone after punching them that much in the face, but I do think it's like, yeah, I think it is it's going according to someone's plan for sure.
Yeah.
Like this outcry and this sort of divide that's being created and going to a community and saying, I don't care, we're going to take all of you in because you're all from this community, and then beating the shit out of them and taking them in.
And I love the fact that the liberal government is in power and people are talking about conspiracy within a liberal government, because it's always a right wing thing. It's always like, oh, the fucking Republicans are all out to kill us, right? But now it's like they even have their own derogatory terms from the for the liberals, and you see African Americans using these derogatory terms for liberals, right? I think that this makes this world way more interesting.
Yeah, like
Right?
I have to say, I think my favorite part so far, of the show is the completeness of the world. Like they really
Yes.
thought about, and I think that's
The
kind of
nuance.
what's hooking me.
The nuance
mostly.
is so
'Cause they show it,
I'm
they
not
don't
so
tell it.
rich.
I'm not.
The nuance is so rich.
I'm not super hooked on like any of the other elements really. Like
Are you enjoying it?
I'm enjoying it.
I'm really
I like
really
the
enjoying it.
WTF. I like that
I'm
I
really
have.
enjoying it.
Yeah, like for me, it's like I like the breadcrumbs. I'm not attached to any character. Like Regina King's character is not really that attachable to me. Like there's a few snippets of a lot of characters, but I thought they were, like, I want to see more Looking Glass, but only because he's enigmatic and not because I like his character.
Yeah.
Ozymandias, like, I don't know.
Oh, we didn't even talk about that scene.
Yeah, we're
we'll
gonna
talk
get
about
into
that
that.
next. Yeah, so like so pretty much for me, what's hooking me right now is the world, like the completeness of the world,
Yeah.
and like I'm just kind of like admiring as like a writing experiment and not like, I don't know. We'll see.
I personally would like to have an episode on Will Reeves. Just like tell me what he's went through.
Yeah,
I'm
I want
Will Reeves and his
backstory. Yeah, I
father
want
are probably
backstory.
the only two characters that I'm really interested, like I'm really invested in. Like those two characters are pretty cool.
Do you feel like the characters that you're not being connected to are a little too cliche?
I think a lot of them are very flat. They're not multidimensional.
Yeah.
And they're not dynamic. And also, I feel like I mean I wouldn't have them do it any other way, of course,
Right.
than follow Regina King
Right.
everywhere. But also there's so many interesting characters that like I think that it's doing the show an injustice by not giving them the screen time that
Right.
we all want them
Right.
to have. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Okay.
so the scene where the guys were rocking the Mothman technology and they're flying over and they're trying to photograph, it was the funeral? Yeah, it was the funeral.
No, it was the
the
hanging.
it was the
crime
scene,
Yeah.
the crime scene.
Also, they said detective at that point. I didn't know Regina King was a detective.
Yeah, all three of them are Looking
Yeah.
Glass, Red Scare,
Yeah, so
and
the detectives just get cool guys.
Yeah. So so when Red Scare is beating the shit out of one of these reporters, he calls him a Nazi and he goes, "Fuck you, I'm a communist."
I'm not a Nazi.
Yeah,
communist.
I'm a communist.
Great line.
So-
Great line.
Hilarious.
So
Also, did you guys notice they have like EMP guns? They shoot
No, I didn't
electricity
notice that at
now.
all.
Like they just blast them out of the air.
They're like
oh, that's why they were falling out of the air. I thought they were.
Yeah, it's bug zappers.
Oh, I thought they were
yeah.
like throwing something at them or whatever.
They should just get big sticks.
Yeah, like big
a
tennis
fucking big
rackets.
fly swatter, like in
Yeah.
cartoons, like Wile E. Coyote style.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be dope. Okay, this is the scene I've been dying to talk about.
Okay.
So we open up on Veidt again, but he's on a horse and he's galloping, and he comes back into his house, and it's another cake.
Same day.
It's not the same day because there was one. There was
No,
one
it's not the
cake-
same day,
but,
but
like,
he's
he's
living
kind of
the
Oh,
same
living
day.
the same day,
Yeah.
right? It's the anniversary, right? They're celebrating an
So-
anniversary or
So I
something.
don't think they're robots. I think they're clones.
They're clones. They're
Yeah.
100% clones, obviously.
I mean, not
right?
100%.
Yeah.
They could be robots.
I don't know, man.
Well, when you see them being burned, that's the only thing I was
Yeah.
like, oh.
Yeah.
Because the body being, but yeah, I think they're,
He's still a cold motherfucker, that
yeah.
guy.
so
I don't know. He's a little bit different than he used to be, I think.
so the play that he mentioned in the last episode was a reenactment of Dr. Manhattan's origin story.
Mhm.
Why?
He's trying to
Bored?
get
Let's-
something
I'm
bored,
guessing
or
he's
he's trying to
bored.
get something
Explanations.
right.
No, seriously, let's really
Okay,
dig
he's
because this
either
is
trying to get something right that he's like missed out, or is he trying to recreate something? I don't know.
Mm.
I honestly I don't know. Like he's gone real crazy. What anyone else?
I don't know,
could
man.
be-
I don't know. It's
This is
it's
something
really
small.
confusing.
This is something small, but he was really adamant about that girl conveying real emotions,
That's
real
true.
tears. I don't know.
That's
like
true.
that. Like if this was the case, I'd probably be underwhelmed with it because like who the fuck cares about the clones? I mean, I don't know. They're pretty interesting characters, I guess. But like if he was just trying to like program her to like convey real emotion, but I think it does have something more to do with the actual event of Dr. Manhattan. But it didn't seem like he was trying to discover anything. It was just it looked like he was
Was it
just
pantomime?
bored.
Was it just pantomime? Like, was it just like, fucking playtime for him? Like,
Yeah.
Well, the interesting
he's just
thing, what the
bored.
whole cloning thing brings up, can Dr. Manhattan cloning himself? Is Dr. Manhattan in Tulsa at the moment and we don't know it because of whatever? Like, there's all these
mean
things.
Dr. Manhattan?
Yeah, like 'cause
well, Will raises those questions.
raises those
Yeah.
questions. But in terms of this, you see like 4 of the same guy. Did we see any clones with the girl?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, we
Yes.
did.
They're all clones. That's my takeaway. But the other thing is the climax of this play is fucking Adrian Veidt burning one of these clones alive,
Yeah.
like barbecuing
Still
his
a
ass.
cold motherfucker.
Like, holy shit.
That's
and
weird
he's
'cause
just like, yeah, let's throw on top of the pile
Yeah.
downstairs of other guys.
it's weird because he's never been that kind of a character. Like he's always like his plan to invade the world, to invade New York City with a hentai monster was like
Is that your name for it?
like it broke the comic book version of him, and not like the movie version
Does
of
it
him
seem
was like
gratuitous just to kill a guy, to kill him, just to recreate
yeah,
a
like he's
scene?
never been bloodthirsty. Right? Maybe he's grown more calculated and more cold over the years.
Yeah, but he's always been a pragmatist.
But
He's
the
always
weird
been.
thing is he's
You know what
playing
I'm thinking? Here's a
Okay.
tinfoil for you. Dr. Manhattan gets pissed off at him and traps him in a mind loop, and now he has to live the same day over and over again, and and he's like getting back at Dr. Manhattan by like burning a version of it. I don't know.
That's interesting.
That could it could maybe.
That's interesting.
No, I mean it'd be pretty shitty if that was the case, because then
other thing-
he would be not a non-player.
There's
But
something
anyways.
he's trying to get right because he keeps repeating the same sort of day over and over again. You know what I mean? Like the same cake, the same. Whatever.
I just think his servants don't have the capacity to do a different day.
That's a good
Maybe.
point. That's a good point. There's something at play that is having him. Well,
Here's
okay,
the thing: what does
but-
he eat?
but the other thing
Yeah,
is,
that cake. You can't eat cake like that every day because it's gonna go all to your hips.
but the other thing is that we've been dealing with nonlinear storytelling too,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So my guess is this. So the first episode there was one candle on the cake. Second episode there's two candles on the cake.
Huh.
Right? So I think it's an anniversary of something.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know I don't know what it's the anniversary of at this point, but I think it's the anniversary of something, right?
Somebody said online that it's the anniversary of the day that he saved the world.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's true.
Maybe. Somebody else also said the day that he disappeared, like
Mm.
successfully disappeared from the world and like people declared him dead. I don't know. However, yeah, it could be anything. And in true Watchmen fashion, we get a blue penis.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he
First
did.
blue penis. Penis count. Let's keep a penis count in this show. 1 so far.
We went as far
Blue
as a
penis count.
fucking blue penis to
Yeah.
to,
Smaller than I
to tell
remember.
this story.
The OG Manhattan had a fucking elephant.
Yeah.
Oh man, interesting. Okay, so predictions for next episode.
No answers. That's my
I
prediction.
honestly, okay, I think it kind of makes sense not to answer it too quickly. We'll
No, I
probably
know.
have more
I was
questions.
just hoping for some setting answers.
Yeah,
Right? Like, just tell me what the world is more. I mean,
I
I've
would
already
love
said that's
to
my number
explore
one
that
thing.
more too, like more of how they got here.
Yeah.
I think predictions for next, something to do with that senator. That senator's gonna be there. There's going to be
Oh
some
yeah,
sort
he's
of
definitely
thing.
gonna play a huge role.
She now knows there's some sort of conspiracy.
Yep.
Like Angela.
Yep.
So there's that.
She has to explain what happened to her car
Yep.
and
Yeah.
her lease.
Like what the heck? That's
Yeah.
just the most random thing ever. But I don't really see where we're gonna have probably more Will Ree's backstory.
Oh, can I just say one of the more emotional scenes, pretty much the most emotions I've seen her. I guess the most powerful emotions was when she hugged her.
Yeah.
She hugged her grandfather. Also, like, you can't pick him up. Come on now. I picked a dude up my size once, and he's way heavier than
But
that.
he's
Anyways,
like old and like kind of frail. Maybe I don't
I
know.
picked up my girlfriend's brother once because he was dead drunk, and I almost died. Like, she's not picking him up.
Well, I mean, he seems a little bit like whatever. But that scene, it wasn't meant to be a hug, but it was a hug. And it makes me think
Yeah.
that
Yeah, I like
she
that it
has-
did turn into that.
she has like a backstory as well that we don't know about
Yeah.
because it seems that she's also someone who was starved from like
Yeah.
affection.
Yeah.
That
I like that. I
has
like that
vibe.
emotion, that little hint of emotion she showed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't
Okay.
be surprised if he started walking around and he's just in that wheelchair just to get that
It's
hug
like
from
Flash
her.
season one all
Maybe
over
Flash
again.
season 1.
I feel like
yeah.
he's like clairvoyant or something.
Flash season
like-
1.
Anyways,
Do we have any theories on what the hell stole Angela's car?
Owlman.
Yeah, that's like what I went to,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Like
Mm.
Owlman was like,
I really wanted to be Ozymandias. Like, I want him to play a bigger part. I don't want him to have fucking horseback riding scenes all season long. That'll piss me off so much. Unless if he's stuck in like a time loop, which is like a theory, right?
Yeah.
Also, wait, do you think there was any significance to the tomato? Was that a tomato when he like takes a
Keep
bite out of
picking
it and then squeezes it and tosses it on the
I have
ground?
no fucking
I
clue.
just think that's so gross to eat a tomato like that.
I think it's
Tomatoes are good for your skin.
I don't know,
Are
man.
they? Oh shoot! Now I'm gonna bathe in it.
No, but like
I
it
think
just
Damon
feel-
Lindelof is like he's
Here's another thing to support.
he's
that.
digging into weird
Okay.
for weird.
Yeah, yeah. Here's another thing to support my theory.
Yeah.
Takes a bite out of that tomato, and then goes, "This doesn't taste like anything," and he drops it because it's not real and it's actually a time loop.
Ooh, maybe I don't know. It could not be.
Oh,
I don't know
man.
time loop, but it could.
Like, I'm just
all be
throwing
fake.
out theories because if I hit something on, if one of my spaghetti hits the wall,
You're
and
gonna talk about it for
sticks,
years.
I'm
to
gonna be
come.
like,
Well-
I'm a fucking genius.
Well, one idea that supports your theory, Chris, is
Mm.
that when we first see Manhattan in episode 1, he's building that mansion.
Exactly. That
yeah.
same mansion.
Yeah.
Right? Like you could tell
I
like
don't
he's
know.
Yeah.
he probably like
It's
made
like
it
an
and then
avatar.
trapped him in it. Cause like if I was Dr. Manhattan and that motherfucker framed me, I'll be like, yo, payback, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Trap you. And anyways, I don't know.
Interesting.
We'll see.
I don't know.
Cause like I'm just wondering, like if he's not gonna cook his own meals, and if his servants can't cook him a proper meal,
Uber Eats.
what does he eat?
Yeah.
Uber Eats.
Yeah.
He has to ride a
Fedora.
horse everywhere. There's no Uber Eats.
There could be horse eats.
There's no internet. Also,
I don't know. Well, I don't know. That sounds
horse
weird.
eats.
Anyways, it's a pretty interesting
rails.
episode, I think. And
Yeah.
we'll see what the third one holds. We'll definitely still be here. And we'll definitely talk about our thoughts on that. So
Yeah. We definitely want you guys to share your thoughts too. Like don't hesitate to jump into the Instagram comment section and let us know, what your theories, what your impressions and our, ideas are of the show. I know that this show is splitting the fan base right down the middle. There's a lot of people that do not like it. There's a lot of people that do like it. There's a lot of people that don't like it for certain reasons, that have become kind of par for the course in the world of fandom, which sucks, but oh well. So, be sure to share your thoughts and feelings and opinions, and hopefully we can, maybe, if you post a cool theory, something that makes us go, maybe we'll share it on the show.
Or a
Who
really
knows?
funny theory.
Yeah.
Get wacky, guys.
Yeah, get wacky. Things that make you go, right? So,
Let us know if we missed a thread that you guys wanted to talk about, or if you like the show in general. Just let us know. Meanwhile_pod, Instagram and Twitter. So yeah, this has been Chris.
Frank,
the sub up.
peace.
Have a good day.